You are an embodied reflection of Source. You are thus infinitely empowered, abundant, and a co-creator with your context always. You are an alchemist. Divination works because the web of life is intelligently organized with coordinated and storied agency. Let's take a look at the stories playing out now. Hi everyone. Let's take a look at the Sabian Symbol imbued at the 12-degree Cancer new moon. The energies of this symbol are going to be influencing the energies for this entire 28-day cycle. The symbol is a hand with a prominent thumb held out for steady. This is referring to the energies of determination, analyzation, and I think discernment over the course of this period. There is going to be a determination and a confidence. There's going to be maybe an educative role in the discernment that is taking place. There's a lot of information online. There's a lot of information in the field. It is overwhelming. It is flooding us. This is a month, as have previous months been, but this looks like a very highlighted month to practice our discernment. Hi everyone. Welcome to July 2016. So I'm doing this a little bit differently this month. First of all, I wanted to be on camera a little bit more this month, back like I used to be. The other is it's here outside and it's a beautiful day. Sunday morning, Father's Day actually. So we're imbuing the energies a little bit with maybe an honoring of the divine masculine. Who knows? Maybe that was the reason why this wanted to happen. So I also wanted to thank everybody on camera to all the well wishes that I received. I'm certainly not alone. There's a lot of people whose body systems are activated by the energy shifts going on, and really the cellular and genetic shifts and changes and alterations that are activated within all of us right now. So indeed, shadows are coming up, karmic patterns coming up. It's been that way for many, many months now. And the bodies are feeling great fatigue and other things happening as a result of these shifts and changes that are just part of the natural evolutionary maturation process for humanity, for the collective. We're literally going from toddlerhood, really more adolescence, but in a way it almost feels like toddlers to teenagers. And I think for some people it's like that, but I think for the vast majority of the collective, it is a bit like we're adolescents, entitled, and we're ready to mature. At least life is ready for us to mature. We need to mature because it's done its run. The adolescent state of humanity has run its course, and now we are maturing, and that's part of the difficulty and the challenges, energetic and otherwise, with regards to the unfolding, the pressure to step up. And I've said that actually for a long time since I've started these scopes, but it really is the truth, and it is becoming exponential. And this year, it really is the year of freedom and alignment. I've said that forever. People are calling it different things, but ultimately this is a time of becoming freed from karmic patterns, not just for our life stream, but for all of our life streams, and not just for us, like our particular soul's journey and its combination as it relates to these other life streams that we're part of and participating in, but the collective. That's the pressure that so many of us know is at hand. That's the pressure that we feel because we get the bigger story of what is unfolding. So us healing self is inherently, as it always does, heals other. As within, so without. As above, so below. So when we shift, it shifts. When we shift, our perception shifts, and everything that we perceive thus shifts. That's just the way it works. That's the way consciousness works. So, yeah, but there's other things at play. There's a lot at play. The energies that are shifting and changing, raising, the frequency is raising, and thus things are becoming more and more transparent. So the solidity that was holding in heavier frequencies can't be hidden anymore. Thus, all the 12th house, past life, parallel life stuff coming up to the fore, right? So I won't go too much more into that. There'll be more coming from me, much more. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my cards because this month I'm going to do art and cards. We're going to do a little Andy Goldsworthy, working with nature, with at least with some Himalayan sea salts and some pebbles. Maybe some crystals too. We'll see what I have, but I'm going to gather a collection, so we do essentially a little bas relief of each sign, and we're going to use imagery. Again, we're all channels. We're all channels. So I encourage all of you to channel writing, art, drawing, whatever it is. But the fact is, we're always channeling, always, every day. So when we can tap in and we can make that connection, then when you put that charcoal on the art paper, or if you are working with natural elements, you know, even with geomancy, throwing sticks or bones or stones, which is not what I'm going to be doing for this cycle, but something similar. So I'm just going to be using natural elements and molding them in a drawing, essentially. So it's the same as using pencil on paper. So I'm excited to do that because I've, again, just like the previous month, I don't know how it's going to go, and I'm excited to see. But now I have my Carolyn Mace archetype cards, and so what I'm going to do, what's a little bit differently this month, is I am going to pull essentially the maturation. So what is it that's asking to be grown and attended to in your life during this month? First, I'm going to pull it first, and then we're going to see what comes. You know, what comes? What is it that wants to be X, Y, or Z? Whatever this card comes for you, and we'll pull the art and we'll pull the cards and we'll just see what the rest of the message is. Okay, so let's take a look. Taurus. Okay, so let's take a look and check in for this new moon cycle that's unfolding throughout the majority of July. And we'll see what is it for Taurus that is wanting to be attended to by you this month. So what is it? Taurus. Avenger. I don't think you've received this before. Avenger, Taurus. So I am going to, let's move on to the next segment for you, and we'll talk about this card there, okay? Taurus, welcome. So this is going to be mostly quiet. I'm going to do a couple things here. One is I'm using my Siri deck, my custom deck this month. I'm going to shuffle, and I'm going to cut the deck and prepare it to lay out. And then I'm going to set it aside. And then I'm going to have fun digging into my my Himalayan sea salt and my stones, and maybe use some crystals as they're called forward, and then create a drawing, and then we'll pull the spread, and then I'll read everything together. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, we're tapping into the Taurus demographic. We're tapping into what it is that is here to show up for you, at least the majority of you, over the course of this cycle, according to your evolutionary trajectory that's part of your demographic. And let's see what is likely to come forward. What is it that's here to grow Taurus over the course of this Cancer new moon, July 2016 cycle? Taurus. 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 Taurus, July 2016. Taurus, July 2016. Taurus. Okay, beauties. All right, so we're going to set that aside and let's see what wants to come for you. What wants to come for Taurus? Wants to come for Taurus. So Taurus, as I was telling Scorpio in their reading, this is inspired by the great Andy Goldsworthy. Although there are many nature artists now, but he was one of the original ones. And he goes out in nature. He goes out in nature. So this is very different. I'm using salts and pebbles. He uses leaves and branches and icicles, etc. So sticks. Beautiful work. So if you're not familiar with Andy Goldsworthy, I highly recommend the film Rivers and Tides. It's absolutely one of my favorite. And at some point, very soon, in fact, it could be, maybe not next month, but it could be. But in the coming weeks, I do want to access nature for the readings for you. And it won't be geomancy. It'll be a little bit different. It's going to be nature art. Taurus. 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 Taurus, July 2016. God, it's interesting. You know, there's a bit of a theme coming up here, I think. So what's happening is that I'm literally just doing what wants to come. I'm just following natural flow about what form is calling. What is it that's calling? So with each move, it's just literally just following the in the moment, in the now call. And it really is quite delicious. Everything in life is form. Everything in life is form. Every form is a manifest reality of a spiritual underpinning story. Everything is form, everything is symbol. You know what, Taurus? I feel that this is it, but it feels interesting. It feels interesting. So, put that over here. And you know what? Let's see here. I don't want to cover the thing for you. Let's move that there. Okay, so I'm going to pull out the Avenger card. The Avenger card is what came up for you when we were outside pulling your archetypes of the growth edge. So what is calling to be matured? The Avenger. You're here to become the qualities of the Avenger, which we'll talk about. Okay, so this is cut and ready to pull. Stop card came up for Scorpio. Okay, beauties, so let's take a look at this. Let me organize myself in the background here. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me make sure you can see everything. Yeah, you can. Well, this is the deal. At the center of the reading is the guidance card, which means that it means one of two things for Tauruses out there for this Cancer New Moon chapter. It either means that you are going to activate you as the guidance, like you become the guidance counselor, you become the guide, you become the teacher, you become the spiritual mentor. Or it could also be that some of you are going to feel heavily surrounded by spirit and heavily guided. And up here in the mental sector, indeed, the protection card is coming up. And you can see the image I chose for this protection really does show a series of angelic beings, a series of guides that's really at the rooftop, you know, protecting us. So it could be that guidance for you is a main theme for this month. And indeed, you're going to be thinking and feeling protected. Okay? Now, this is the deal. I don't know what's going to happen in July, but it could be that some of the world events, some of the global events, there might be some intensities that start unfolding on the global stage, just like they have been unfolding. I do believe that in the upcoming months, late summer, early fall, we are going to see extreme events start to occur. Now, it could be that in July, there is something activated, because I say that because Scorpio also received this card. And in my deck, in the tarot, the death card represents death rebirth. It represents a transformation of beingness. In my deck, I created a transformation card, and then I created a stop card, which represents ceasing to exist. So in the spiritual sector, it could be that because you're feeling the guidance card or the guidance theme at the center of the reading, and because you're thinking of protection, it could be that you're actually moving from a space of not feeling protected, feeling like guidance had stopped for you, feeling like things were a disaster, being destructed, being dissolved, for example, ceasing to exist in your life. Maybe there's been some deaths in your reality, for example. So it could be that from that place of deaths or from things stopping to be in your reality, that you, in the month of July, start to access your guides, start to actually speak to your guides. And in fact, you do feel protected, which is beautiful. And And I do want to say, especially because of what's coming up here, that indeed in your recent past, it could be that there were some things that have dissolved that didn't feel good. And so the stop card, I don't know, everybody. I mean, this is what I'll say. Because of the Saturn-Neptune square, depression and even suicidal thoughts have been at the fore for many, many people. It's just part of that dynamic. And so spiritually, you might have been thinking, I feel done. I feel cooked. I can't go anymore. I'm tired, you know? But in July, you are going to sense at a foundational level occasional goodness, that there is goodness. You're going to start feeling, experiencing occasional goodness. This could be the delicious coffee at your corner coffee shop, or the neighbor that starts saying hello that you've not talked to, you know, forever. It could be all of these little things. You see a dog, that you start seeing animals around the neighborhood that you didn't even know were there. It could be that you start making connections. You know, it could be that you just start feeling and appreciating your breath and the wind and the songbirds and nature. You know, it could very well be that. So there is goodness that starts to emerge for you. You actually, because this is in the experiential sector here, so you start to experience elements of goodness, okay? And maybe at the root was a feeling of exhaustion and, you know, difficulty, okay? Now, emotionally, something eminent. What I want to say is that you might feel that soon let me take a look at this Taurus. I want to look at the time on the camera too. Okay, so it could be that you do have feelings that are connected to things that have stopped, things that have been destroyed, for example. And it's interesting because the Ancient Wisdom card is coming up, which has to do with indigenous wisdom, ancient wisdom, holistic wisdom, original human holistic knowing. And by the way, check out my website if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that as well. Soon, ancient wisdom thought. It's almost like you're feeling like there's going to be new considerations around your old patterns of feeling, because the ancient wisdom does have to do with holistic wisdom, but it also has to do with our old ways of being, our old patterned traditional ways of being. That's another way to read this card. And because it's in the emotional sector, you could be feeling some old patterned ways of being. But the thought card is here, and the protection card is in the mental sector, which means that some new thoughts might emerge into, let's say, the patterned way of emotions, your regular way of feeling about things. So it could be that there's eminent new thoughts that come forward to kind of impact, shift, change your ways of feeling about, you know, things that have been dissolving, things that have been being destructed, things that have been hard, maybe deaths in your family, or maybe even, again on the global stage. I don't know if I finished saying that earlier. Because there's so much going on globally, it could very well be that there is, you're connected at a different level during this month to the things that are maybe the transience of nature, of life, the preciousness of life, and you might be tapping into that. So let's move on here to this side, because I'm kind of intrigued, Taurus. You received a couple beautiful things here. One is a lot of pink and red. You have the rhodochrosite at the bottom, which we'll talk about. But I have to say, the interesting thing for me about this particular symbol is, one, it looks, first of all, it started as a curve. It started as kind of a snake-like curve, almost like a kundalini emergence, you know, out of its coil. But it ended up with kind of like a tip of an arrow. And then this wanted to come. And with this whole thing, it reminds me of an anchor, which is interesting because I just did a previous reading where anchor also came up. The thing about yours that is different is that the anchor feels whimsical, fluid, and mutable. It's going with the flow. It has this selenite. I wanted to put the selenite, and it's almost like jammed into this area here between the base of the anchor and this curving kind of vertical piece. And I don't know what this means. You might know what this means, but this wanted to go right there. It's almost like it's jamming it or it's pushing it down, but not down in a buried, veiled way. It's helping it. It's helping it get to a clarity. There's some spirit. Selenite is very angelic, powerful, and it could be that there is something angelic that helps root, let's say, the point of clarity. Maybe that's what's coming here. The clarity that you are protected, that there is goodness, that there are things that have ceased and stopped, but you're getting a new thought around your feeling patterns, you know? And then the rhodochrosite came up at the bottom. So this is like red, it's energy, it reminds me of new birth. And there's a whole selection of meanings for rhodochrosite, which I don't really have memorized, so I can't say it here on the video. But for me, there is warmth here, there's creativity here, there's life force here, and this really is almost a root chakra. It really is kind of a root chakra. And the other thing about this is that it could be that there was, in some of you, a vitality, an energetic vitality that you have been feeling really missing. So maybe on a vitality core level, you just felt exhausted, tapped out, done. And the fact that this red, beautiful piece here comes to this, it's at the end of this point, this clarity point, being pushed down by protection forces. It could very well be that, you know, you are re-energized. There's a point where you're re-energized over the course of the cycle. And then I have to say, look how beautiful this is. You have a circle of the stone here, which feels like a new seed, a new embryo. And then in the middle of it, the heart, I only have one heart, but this really wanted to come for you. So there is a rose quartz heart that really wanted to pop in right in the center. So it's like there's new love, new appreciation. You're being supported in finding that clarity to new vitality. I really love this for you, Taurus. Really love it. So let's take a look at your Avenger card. So this is the card, the archetype that came up for you to mature. So what will be called for you to actually engage and mature within yourself over the course of the cycle? Avenger. And Avenger is about moving out of resorting to violence in the name of a cause. Now, I have to say, it could easily be, that violence in the name of a cause could be the root of some of this that's coming up. This could be a global stage issue. For some of you, this is not going to be a personal issue. It's going to be a global stage issue. Okay? Interesting. Okay? And then what wants to be matured through you at this time, Taurus, is a desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. This is about taking action. It's about taking right action on behalf of the whole. It's about doing the right thing. It is about, dear Taurus, re-enlivening yourself, seeing the goodness out there, seeing the goodness, re-enlivening your vitality, and taking action. The world really is, I can feel it. I can feel it. It is so palpable. It has been coming, but it's here now. I can feel it. It is very juicy. There's a lot of people coming up, out. It's moving fast now. And so indeed, a lot of Taurians are going to come up and out to help the world. The world needs major help right now on every level. You need help. It's always a matter of serving self first, because when we heal self, we heal other. That's always the way it is. So you always want to attend to yourself. You never want to over-focus outside of yourself. You want to focus your energies of healing inwardly so that you can be the avenger outwardly. But you will be attending to perhaps broader issues at hand as well. Very powerful, Taurus. Okay, sweeties, so let's move on to the Dakini and see your embodiment. Hi, everyone. Your I Ching micro story, a general energetic theme that's playing out for your particular sign, is listed on the card that you're reading now, as is your optimal goddess embodiment, the Dakini embodiment. Who are you to become to ride this June wave optimally? In order to save time this month, I'm just recording this once. And if you'd like, for those interested, because not everybody is, you are free to visit my website and go to the online library where you can find the information for both your I Ching and your Dakini. Okay, everyone. So that completes the alchemy scopes for this cycle, July 2016, our Cancer new moon cycle, which now the new moons are really aligning predominantly with the month, which is fantastic. So it's going to be a bit easier and more aligned for people to understand, how these are running. But for any of you out there that are desiring one-on-one guidance, my website is below. There's a list of services. For those of you interested in understanding your soul's narratives, the storylines that live within, the storylines that were encoded within you to be healed, matured, and evolved, you as an aspect of consciousness, I have a package called the Who Am I package, and it involves the receipt of 2 different profiles, a video explaining the profiles, and a personal 90-minute one-on-one session with me. And I'm going to link that somewhere on the video and or below the video. So I invite, this really is a time for those of you interested in getting to know yourselves at a very deep, authentic level, but that is connected to the deeper realities of the strata of living systems, which is the storied, archetypal, symbolic realm. I invite you to reach out. And I also have one-on-one sessions. So for those of you interested in your own personal alchemy scope, I offer those. There's a list of services and products. So I want to thank you again so much for those of you that sent me well wishes during the last couple months. It's been meaningful, and I really appreciate it. And I so see and honor the processes happening within each of you as well. So we're all riding the wave, and we're all working through our processes. And it really is a hero's journey. There's just nothing else to say about it. This is a hero's journey. So you're doing a fabulous job. Let July and let the rest of this summer have the remnants of this mutable Grand Cross activations and the Grand Earth Trine. Let it mutate you so that it allows you to free your mind, free the resistance, so that you can go with the flow. Going with the flow is the answer. But also being discerning and also owning your power. So there's like 3 various components to this process as we remember and remind this state of our wholeness, our whole soul, where we're going, who we are, and what we're here to do. It's a big storyline that we're working. So I'm sending you lots of love and infinite support. I'll talk to you next month.